Welcome to a deep dive into the mind of Hergé,
Mm,
the creator of Tintin.
yes.
Most folks probably know Tintin just for his amazing adventures.
Right.
But today we're going way deeper than that.
Okay.
We're going to try to figure out how Hergé's personality shaped those stories.
Interesting.
And to do that, we're going to be using the Enneagram,
Okay.
which is a personality typing system,
Uh-huh.
to see if it can maybe unlock some hidden depths in Tintin's world.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So to kick things off,
Yeah.
some Enneagram experts think that Hergé was a social 7.
Okay.
Sevens, they're known for their optimism,
Right.
their enthusiasm,
Yeah.
their endless curiosity.
Yeah.
They're always looking for something new.
Always seeking new experiences, right?
Exactly.
So when you think about Tintin and all of his globe-trotting and stuff,
Uh-huh.
it kind of starts to make sense.
It really does.
Yeah.
Tintin really, rarely gets bogged down by anything,
Right.
no matter how dangerous things get. There's always that feeling that he's going to, find a way out, that things are going to work out in the end.
Yeah.
Is that, classic social 7 optimism?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sevens, they tend to have this unshakable belief that things will work out,
Mhm.
even when things are really tough.
Right.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
That optimism can sometimes come across as naive
Oh,
or even reckless.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Sometimes Tintin just rushes into danger
Right.
without really thinking things through.
Yeah.
And he really trusts people easily,
Mm-hmm.
which, sometimes gets him in trouble.
Yeah.
But I never thought of that as a deliberate character trait,
Right.
It was just Tintin being Tintin.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of applying the Enneagram to creative works.
Okay.
It can help us understand those seemingly simple choices
Uh-huh.
that creators make on a deeper level.
Okay.
So maybe Hergé, as a potential 7 himself, was drawn to exploring that fine line between optimism and naivete.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just about seeing the adventure.
Right.
It's about understanding how Tintin experiences that adventure.
Exactly.
It's colored by his personality.
Yeah.
So then it makes me think about all those social justice themes
Mm-hmm.
that Hergé tackled in the Blue Lotus or Coke and Stock.
Yeah.
Those seem pretty heavy for a supposedly naive character,
That's a great point.
don't they?
And this is where I think the social 7's commitment to justice comes into play.
Okay.
They have this deep belief in fairness and equality,
Uh-huh.
and they're often drawn to fighting for what they believe in.
So even though Tintin might seem naive,
Right.
he's also super passionate about fighting injustice.
Yeah.
He's willing to stand up for what's right,
Hmm.
even if it means putting himself in danger.
Exactly. And that complexity, that blend of seeming naivete and unwavering commitment to justice
Right.
might reflect Hergé's own struggles, if he was a 7.
It makes me wonder if Hergé was using Tintin to kind of explore all these different facets of the social 7 personality.
Interesting.
The good and the bad.
Yeah.
Almost like he was working through his own conflicts.
It's an interesting theory, right?
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that creative works can be deeply personal,
Right.
even when they seem fantastical on the surface.
Okay, so we're starting to see how looking at this through the lens of the social 7 can reveal some new layers of Tintin's character.
Yeah.
But what about the stories themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Do we see any evidence of Hergé's potential personality in the way he structured those adventures?
Absolutely. Just think about the sheer scope of Tintin's travels.
Yeah.
He goes everywhere, from the depths of the ocean to the moon. He's always seeking out new experiences, pushing the boundaries of exploration.
Yeah.
I mean, that insatiable curiosity is a hallmark of the social 7 personality,
It's like Hergé was living vicariously through Tintin.
sending him on all these incredible adventures that maybe he wished he could have had himself.
Right.
I mean, who hasn't dreamt of exploring a lost temple
Yeah.
or discovering a new species?
Exactly. And that sense of wonder,
Uh-huh.
that childlike excitement for the unknown.
Yeah.
That's something that 7s often carry with them throughout their lives.
Right.
They're always looking for that next big adventure,
Uh-huh.
the next thing that will spark their imagination
Right.
and expand their horizons.
And that reminds me of another famous adventurer and author, Jules Verne.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote all these incredible stories
Right?
about journeys to the center of the earth and voyages around the moon.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
Well, interestingly enough,
Yeah.
Claudio Naranjo, a leading Enneagram expert,
Oh, wow.
also identified Jules Verne as a social 7.
No way.
Yeah.
So both Hergé and Verne creators of these enduring adventure stories
Yeah.
might have shared this core personality trait.
It's a fascinating connection.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it suggests that this desire to explore, to push boundaries,
Right.
and to share that sense of wonder with the world might be like deeply ingrained in this social seven personality.
This is really starting to open my eyes to a whole new way of looking at these stories.
Yeah.
But what about Hergé himself?
Mm-hmm.
Did his life outside of Tintin also align with the social seven profile?
Well, his biography kind of paints a picture that aligns with the social seven profile.
Okay.
His early fascination with drawing and storytelling, coupled with his active involvement in scouting,
Right.
highlight his like inherent creativity and adventurous spirit.
Yeah.
Those hallmarks of a seven.
Okay.
It's as if those early experiences like planted the seeds for the world he'd later create with Tintin.
And remember all that meticulous detail in his artwork?
Oh, yeah.
The way he captured those exotic locations and historical references
Right.
so precisely.
Yeah.
That wasn't just artistic talent.
No, not at all.
It stemmed from a seven's deep desire to get things right, to ensure accuracy and authenticity.
Okay.
He spent hours and hours researching,
Right.
poring over maps and historical accounts,
Yeah.
all driven by this need to create something truly exceptional.
Right.
It's the seven's quest for knowledge and perfection shining through.
That makes those incredible settings in Tintin even more impressive.
Yeah.
He wasn't just making things up.
Right.
He was drawing on real-world research
Exactly.
to build these believable environments.
Yeah.
But speaking of believable,
Okay.
some critics argue that Tintin's relationships can feel kind of superficial. He's always got his trusty companions,
Right.
but there's rarely that deep emotional connection.
Right.
Could that be linked to Hergé's potential social seven personality?
It's a thought-provoking question,
Yeah.
and it touches on a potential paradox with sevens.
Okay.
They crave connection, they thrive in social settings, but they can also shy away from deep emotional intimacy.
Interesting.
Yeah, think about the vibrant cast of characters in Tintin.
Uh-huh.
Captain Haddock with this blustering charm.
Right.
Professor Calculus lost in his own world.
Yeah.
And even Snowy, the ever-faithful companion.
Yeah.
They're iconic.
Right.
They're memorable.
Yeah.
But do we really see Tintin forming truly deep bonds with them?
Now that you mention it,
Yeah.
it's more about shared adventures, a common purpose,
Right.
rather than those heartfelt moments of vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's almost like Tintin is always holding back a part of himself.
And that's where I think the Enneagram can offer some insight.
Okay.
Sevens are often so focused on experiencing the new, the exciting,
Right.
that they can avoid delving into the depths of their own emotions or those of others.
Okay.
It's a fascinating tension to consider when analyzing Hergé's work.
It adds a layer of complexity,
It does.
doesn't it? It's not just that Tintin is like a naive, optimistic hero,
Right.
but that those very traits might stem from a deeper avoidance of emotional complexity.
Exactly.
But hold on.
Yeah.
Doesn't Hergé himself collaborate with other artists and writers on the Tintin series?
He did?
That seems to contradict the idea of a seven struggling with connection.
You've raised a crucial point,
Okay.
and it speaks to the dynamic nature of the Enneagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a rigid box,
Right.
but a framework for understanding tendencies and patterns.
Right.
Hergé did collaborate,
Yeah.
notably, with Edgar P. Jacobs and Jacques Martin,
Right.
and their contributions enriched the stories immensely.
Right.
It's as if Hergé recognized the need for those deeper connections,
Okay.
those complementary skills
Right.
to bring his vision to life.
So perhaps collaboration was a way for Hergé to channel those social instincts of a seven in a productive way,
Right.
while still maintaining a degree of control over his creative vision. Almost like forming his own little adventuring party,
Right.
just like Tintin and his companions.
Exactly.
And this collaborative spirit adds another dimension to our understanding of Hergé's potential seven personality.
It does.
He wasn't a solitary genius,
Right.
but someone who recognized the value of teamwork
Mm-hmm.
and shared passion.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if those collaborators provided the emotional grounding
Interesting.
that Tintin himself seemed to lack.
Yeah.
But on the topic of emotional depth,
Okay.
there's something else we haven't talked about yet.
Mm-hmm.
Hergé faced criticism
Right.
for some of his early work,
Yeah.
specifically the portrayal of certain characters and cultures.
Yeah.
Does that conflict with the idea of a social seven dedicated to justice?
That's an important point to address.
Yeah.
some of Hergé's early work, particularly Tintin in the Congo,
Right.
has been critiqued for perpetuating harmful stereotypes.
Right.
It's a complex issue.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that even beloved figures can have blind spots
Right.
reflecting the limitations of their time.
It's a challenge to reconcile those depictions with the social seven's supposed commitment to justice,
It is.
isn't it?
And it highlights the need for nuance
Oh,
when applying the Enneagram. It doesn't excuse problematic behavior,
Right.
but it can offer potential explanations.
Okay.
Perhaps Hergé's youthful optimism,
Yeah.
that belief in the inherent goodness of the world,
Yeah.
initially blinded him to the realities of colonialism
Yeah.
and cultural insensitivity.
It's as if his desire to see the good overshadowed his awareness of the bad.
Exactly.
And that makes his later work, with its more nuanced explorations of social justice,
Right.
even more remarkable.
Yeah.
It suggests growth,
Mhm.
evolution of understanding.
Exactly. It's a testament to Hergé's capacity for self-reflection and his willingness to confront uncomfortable truths.
Right.
And that in itself might be a sign of his potential seven nature,
Right.
the drive to
Right.
learn, to expand his worldview, and
Well,
to ultimately contribute something positive to the world.
It's a reminder that personalities are complex and people can change and evolve over time.
Absolutely.
And speaking of change,
Okay.
there's one more aspect of the social seven that might shed light on Hergé's story,
Okay.
the concept of sacrifice.
Right.
How does that fit into this picture?
Well, as we've discussed,
Yeah.
creating something as enduring as The Adventures of Tintin required immense dedication.
Right.
Hergé poured his heart and soul into it,
Yeah.
spending countless hours researching, refining his art, and crafting compelling stories.
Yeah.
That level of commitment undoubtedly came at a personal cost.
It's easy to romanticize the life of a successful artist.
It is.
But those long hours,
Right.
the creative struggles, the pressure to constantly deliver,
Yeah.
those take a toll.
They do.
Is sacrifice really the right word, though? Hergé wasn't exactly struggling financially,
That's a fair point.
was he?
And it highlights the nuanced nature of sacrifice.
Okay.
It doesn't always mean material deprivation,
Right.
but it can involve giving up time, relationships,
Right.
personal pursuits,
Yeah.
all in service of a greater goal.
Okay.
Hergé's unwavering focus on Tintin,
Uh-huh.
his relentless pursuit of excellence,
Right.
might have come at the expense of other aspects of his life.
It makes you think about the trade-offs we all make,
It does.
doesn't it? The choices we prioritize, the things we're willing to sacrifice for,
Right.
all driven by our values and aspirations.
Exactly.
And for Hergé, perhaps that driving force was his potential social seven personality, with its need to create, to explore, to leave a lasting mark on the world.
It's a powerful lens through which to view his life and work. And it reminds us that behind every great creation lies a human story, a tapestry of motivations,
Right.
struggles,
Yeah.
and triumphs.
This is really making me rethink my own understanding of Tintin.
Yeah.
It's not just a series of exciting adventures anymore. It's a reflection of Hergé's personality,
Right.
his values,
Uh-huh.
and perhaps even his own internal journey.
And that's the beauty of exploring a creator's life and personality.
Right.
It enriches our understanding of their work,
Uh-huh.
revealing hidden depths and prompting us to engage with it on a more meaningful level.
Okay.
But speaking of deeper meaning,
Yeah.
there's one final aspect of the social seven
Okay.
that I think is particularly relevant to Hergé's story.
You mentioned a final aspect of the social seven.
Oh, right, their legacy.
Okay.
The impact they leave on the world.
Right.
Think about Tintin's enduring popularity. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a global icon.
He is.
He's translated into countless languages,
Right.
loved by generations of readers.
Uh-huh.
That says a lot about the power of Hergé's creation.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tintin's adventures have gone way beyond cultural boundaries,
Right.
resonating with people from all walks of life. He's more than just a comic book character.
Right.
He's like a symbol of adventure courage and doing the right thing.
And I think that, that ties back to the social seven's deep desire to connect with others,
Okay.
to share their joy and enthusiasm. They really want to make a positive impact,
Right.
to leave a mark on the world that reflects their values.
So maybe Hergé,
Yeah.
potentially a seven himself, was driven to create something that would inspire,
Right.
entertain,
Yeah.
and maybe even challenge readers to see the world differently.
It's a compelling possibility.
It is.
And it adds another layer of depth to those seemingly simple adventures.
Right.
Maybe Hergé was using Tintin to explore not just the world, but the human condition itself.
Wow.
Our flaws, our aspirations.
Our potential for both good and bad.
And that's what makes those stories so enduring, isn't it? They tap into something universal, something that speaks to us regardless of our background or beliefs.
Yeah, we see ourselves in Tintin, in his companions, even in his adversaries.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the ultimate legacy of the Social Seven.
Okay.
To create something that connects with people on a deep emotional level. Something that sparks imagination.
Right.
Encourages empathy.
Yeah.
And maybe even inspires us to be a bit better ourselves.
This whole deep dive has been amazing.
It's been fun.
I'm going to look at Tintin.
Yeah.
And all my favorite stories in a totally new way now.
That's great.
I'll be thinking about the creators, their personalities, and how their unique perspectives shape the worlds they build.
And that's what we hope to achieve with these deep dives.
Yeah.
A deeper appreciation for the creative process.
Right.
The personalities behind the stories and the power of understanding ourselves and others a little bit better.
It makes you wonder what other hidden depths we might find if we start using the Enneagram to look at other works of art, music, even history itself.
Absolutely.
The possibilities are endless.
They are. There's always more to discover, more to understand.
Yeah.
So keep exploring.
Okay.
Keep questioning and keep diving deeper.
You got it.
You never know what fascinating connections you might find.
Well, that's about it for this deep dive.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.